Okay, first and foremost, I know what you're gonna say. You said that Portugal and Germany were gonna make it to the final and that Portugal would win it all, and they didn't. Instead, Chile got to the final, the same Chile that you said wouldn't get out of their group because Cameroon was gonna get through instead. And every time you doubted Chile, they won, and yeah. So the question I know you're thinking about is, am I still considered the best predictor of all time? Yes, I am. And by who, you ask? By me. And that's all that matters because my high school class motto was, we believe, we achieve. And I'm a believer, baby. So the real question I know you want to ask me is, what happened to all my stuff? Well, the movers came and they picked it up yesterday, but our flight to Seattle so I can play in the Steve Zakawani charity game with Ocho Cinco and Marshawn Lynch, among others, isn't happening until tomorrow. That's the flight. And the game's happening Sunday. So if you guys want to go and you live in Seattle, I'll put the details and or link in the description, and then you can come hang out and it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so the real question is, do Chile fans want me to pick their team to lose because every time I do, they win? Or do German fans want me to pick them to lose so that the Germans end up winning? Though I did say that the Germans would get to the final and lose to Portugal in extra time or penalties. I actually can't remember which one that I said. Either way, what would you prefer if you're watching, and who do you want to win? I guess that's what matters. Also, if you support one of these two countries, do you really want to win the Confederations Cup? And I only say that because no country that has become champions of this tournament has gone on to win the World Cup in the following summer. So let's break this game down with each team in each position, and we're going to start with the goalkeepers. With Germany, they started the tournament with Bernd Leno, but he gave up 2 goals to Australia, and he hasn't seen the field since because Marc-Andre ter Stegen has taken over, though he's given up 3 goals in 3 games, which isn't bad, but it's not great either. Whereas with Chile, Claudio Bravo, who I predicted would play well in this tournament, and you guys were like, what? Bravo? Bravo sucks, man. Whatever. He might suck for Manchester City, but he always plays well for his country. He's only given up 1 goal in 2 games because Johnny Herrera started the first 2 games. But Bravo saved 3 penalties in their shootout against Portugal. He was the hero, the man of the match. So for me, the advantage at goalkeeper goes to Chile. And then with the defenders, their success is linked to the success of their goalkeeper, and Chile has had the better numbers overall, only giving up 2 goals in 4 games. But they have given up quite a few more opportunities when Bravo is in goal as opposed to when Herrera is between the sticks for them, which makes me wonder, you guys ever do that? You ever wonder if the defenders know they have to work harder when Herrera is in goal and can relax a little bit when Bravo's in instead because he always ends up saving their bacon? Now, this is only for Chile, not for Manchester City. And that does happen, by the way, because I remember feeling like I had to be a little more alert when the second string goalkeeper was behind me because he was prone to making more mistakes. You just had to cover for his weaknesses however that you could. And you're like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna make sure he looks good, you know? Also, Germany have yet to get a shutout in this competition, so for all their efficiency going forward, they're still a little leaky in the back, especially against Mexico in the semifinals, where the Mexicans created 25 opportunities, though only 9 were on target. So that's just something to take into consideration. I just think you have to. So for me, the advantage on this one goes to In midfield, the Germans are led by Captain Julian Draxler, Leon Goretzka, who's coming off a 2-goal performance against Mexico, Emre Can, and Sebastian Rudy, who make a block of 4 in the middle of midfield, which allows Josh Kimmich and Hector to get up and down the sidelines as wingbacks, which manager Yogi Love writes down on his official lineup sheet or whatever that's called as a 5-4-1. But let's be honest, it's definitely a fluctuating 5-4-1 that could easily morph into a 3-6-1 or a 4-5-1 based on the situation, which in theory should help them create some interesting numerical advantages in this area of the field. But Chile have 3 guys in the middle of the park who have all played magnificently in this tournament, and I'm talking about Artur Vidal and Charles Aranguiz and Marcelo Diaz, who are tough to break down. They are efficient in their movements, they are clever in when and how they like to win the ball, they are patient when they do win it back, and they are highly intelligent when they transition into the attack. But there are only 3 of them, unless they put their number 10, Pablo Hernandez, in there as well, like they did against Portugal. But even with him, they're going up against 5 or 6 Germans. So based on the sheer numbers, and I'll add the age of the players, because the Germans are much younger, which in theory should serve them well in their 5th game in 2 weeks, I'm going to give the Germans a slight advantage. And finally up top, the Chileans have Eduardo Vargas, who I didn't give enough credit to in my Confederations Cup preview, and I'm feeling kind of bad about it because I've always been a fan of his movement and finishing ability, and I think he's a terrific player. And Alexis Sanchez, who needs no introduction about his world-class ability and who scored his country's only goal in their 1-1 draw with Germany in the group stages. And speaking of Germany, their point man up top throughout this tournament has been either RB Leipzig's Timo Werner or Borussia Mönchengladbach's Lars Stindl, who's also used all over the midfield as well. I mean, the guy's a real jack of all trades, and I have a lot of respect for that. But I expect Werner to be the guy in this one, so he can make sure to occupy the two Chilean center backs, and what I think is his most important job, he needs to hold the ball up so that the rest of the German midfield can join the attack in advanced positions, which will help create gaps in the Chilean defense, which is not easy to do. So I wish him the best of luck with that. Which means this one is a tough one to call, but given the fact that Germany is coming off their best offensive output of the tournament against Mexico, I'm going to have to give them the edge up top and in their overall attack. Also, fun fact for you, they have the youngest team in the tournament, and younger players feed off of confidence and momentum, and the Germans have both. But does that mean the Germans are going to win? I'm not so sure. Chile are seasoned veterans that have won 2 straight Copa Americas, and this core of players finds themselves in yet another final, which proves that they know how to get it done. But they've only scored 1 goal in the last 300 minutes, and that should be of some concern. But Germany is conceding goals and opportunities, so if Chile can't score, it's probably really not anything that the Germans are doing, and more just a lack of finishing their chances on their part. But the Germans have a World Cup winning manager in Jogi Löw, who knows how to win the biggest matches, and I feel like that could make a significant difference. But if their 1-1 draw in the group stages is any indication of how things are going to go, then this game is going to be tight, and Chile know how to win tight games, especially if it goes to penalties. You can just ask Argentina in the last 2 Copa Americas and Portugal a few days ago about how that feels. So I believe, this is what I think, this is what I'm going to predict, that Chile is going to do what they do best and win in penalties to capture their 3rd straight major competition. And I know I'm going to be right this time. I can feel it in my bones. Or I'm not. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Enjoy the game. Later.